What forces or factors influence your decision to attend the college you attended?
I chose to go there for a number of reasons.
Size was a big one. I did not want to go to a big school.
It's a small school.
Location, especially for law school, I knew I wanted to be in the city.
When I was looking at colleges, I wanted to go to one of the best colleges possible. I had a lot of options at the time. But the reason why I chose Rice was because they offered me a full scholarship for 4 years, and it was also a good school.
School ranking played a superficial role to give me a superficial sense of what academics might be like.
And I felt like it was a good fit for me.
The University of Texas was the right fit, given the reputation that it's a petroleum engineering program has. So I applied to UT, and I was accepted.
I picked 8 schools that were all top 10, and then applied, and then got into 4, and then picked Stanford, which sort of was one of the best that I got into.
Specialization, more so for law school than for college, but I really wanted to go to a law school that had a strong international law focus.
They decided to me to come to UT because it's the best petroleum engineering program in the United States.
Did you encounter barriers in gaining access to higher education?
In terms of other barriers, not really.
I would say no. But one thing that I have noticed in law school, far more than I don't think I ever encountered in undergrad, was an enormous lack of diversity. I don't think that this is a my school specific issue. I think this is across the board in a lot of law schools and a lot of higher education today. I should also specify that when I say diversity, I refer specifically to ethnic diversity. I don't see enough minorities. I don't see minorities and minority issues being part of the mainstream conversation. They're very much part of the periphery.
Initially, to get accepted, there were some barriers put in front. But according to Texas rules, people from Texas get priority.
I've targeted UT since I was a freshman in high school, for an early time. So UT has been something that's been on my mind for a while. But the biggest difficulty I had was just, as Manuel was saying, the admission process itself. It wasn't the financial part of it or the logistics. It was more just the admission requirement because of the 10%. He's talking about the 10% pool, which we're all competing against. For example, I was not accepted in the first hand. I was offered the CAP program to go to UTSA and do 1 year, but I appealed it and I got accepted. So.
Competition at UT is really high, but my biggest barrier was the language. Had the big problem in getting scored.
I had to try to catch up with the advanced placement subjects in like math and science so that I could make myself competitive to go to a good college. And so I had to like double up on my math classes, double up on my science classes. And with all of that, it was like a big adjustment. So I attend Albert Einstein College of Medicine. It's in the Bronx in New York. And it's associated with Yeshiva University. It's a Jewish institution. I chose to come here because it was close to home. My parents live less than half an hour away, and it's a good support system.
It's just more about speaking up in class and not wanting to be made fun of because I'm being the African girl. But like even now in Cornell, I feel like it's nice because it's like we have actually surprisingly a lot of Nigerians here. We have such a high amount of Nigerians. The African Americans are actually the ones that are the minority amongst the minority.
They have a relatively big diversity population in comparison to other medical schools I've visited. They have a good support network here, and I think that's very important. Also, when I did my interview, everybody was very warm and welcoming. I can't say that I've encountered any barriers to education.
For my undergrad degree, I went to the University of West Indies because my mom is Jamaican American, and that was a choice. I wanted to be in a college that was close to my mom's family. For my first master's degree, I went to George Washington University.
I am from Trinidad and Tobago. I moved to the US in 2008, and my parents both have college degrees in English and history and literature. My educational path, I did go to a public, what you would call elementary school. I then went to what is known as a prestigious all-girls high school. I did my first degree in Trinidad and Tobago, and then when I came to the US, I did my master's. And yes, college was expected of myself and my siblings, since my parents both did it and also understood the value of having a good education. The college I attended here was a private Catholic institution. I did my master's, with a graduate program. I did my master's in human resource management. And the influences for my decision were the location, the fact that there are very few colleges in the area that actually offer a program in master's education in human resource management. They were actually very good about dealing with, they have a very high overseas international population, so they knew how to interface with finances, yes, because you, depending on where you're from, having to do the exchange rate, you did have to show that you had the finances for an entire year. The language settings, or in terms of the language barrier, I learned very quickly how to slow down speaking, my speed. I changed my intonation for people to understand, and that helped a little bit. With that came the language, so I've learned how to adjust while yet still not being offensive or not being caged, as to not allow conversation to take place in case someone genuinely wanted to connect with you on another level.
Thank you, everyone. You guys were fantastic.